What did I say? Knowing Mick Cronin, he will be here, and he is. He is the head basketball coach at UCLA. Third season with the Bruins. He led them on a magic run last year to the Final Four. First time in 13 years. 2020 Pac-12 Coach of the Year. 2018 Sporting News National Coach of the Year. Three-time Conference Coach of the Year. UCLA 1-0. They're number 2 in both polls, and they have got an enormous game Friday night, which I absolutely love. UCLA second ranked, hosting number 4 Villanova Friday night. Mick Cronin is my guest. Mick, it is great to have you back. How are you, Mick?
I'm great, Romy. How you been, man?
Good, Mick. Great to have you on. Really good to talk to you. There is so much to cover, including the season opener last night and Santa Anita and more. But let me start with that win over Bakersfield. How did it feel to be back on the floor, playing meaningful games for the first time since April, Mick?
Well, just to have the fans back, Jim. I mean, gosh, last year was just... It's really hard to describe unless you were part of a team that was in a bubble-type situation all year. Eating meals on the road in your room by yourself, coming every day to COVID test every morning, and then running out to play games in big, beautiful, but empty arenas. So it was just, for me, just to have fans there, and have our kids have some sense of normalcy, because unlike us, we get to do our jobs for a long time. These guys have a short window to enjoy college basketball. And the students and the whole, the pageantry of it all is, Keith Jackson used to say when he did the Rose Bowl, right? That's what made it special. So having everybody back, just cheerleaders, band, all that above it was great to be back.
It's got to feel so good to have that energy, that buzz, that juice in the building, and the players feed off that too. Obviously, Mick Cronin joining us. Mick, let me just jump right into some philosophy. After the game, you were talking about the fact that you've been working on this notion, this concept that whoever gets the defensive rebound is the point guard. When that's working, what does that approach mean, and how does that open things up for the rest of the team?
Well, I think we all know in basketball, the numbers tell you shoot the highest percentage in the first 8 to 10 seconds of the shot clock. Now, that doesn't mean because you come down and take a bad shot 5-on-5. It means when you do shoot it in the first 8 seconds, it's because you got the ball up the floor and got something quick and easy against an unset defense. So Friday night, we play Villanova. If Jay Wright gets his defense set, the only guys he's going to put in the game are guys that defend the way he wants, and they have a scouting report. And if they get their defense set, it's just so much harder to score. So the advantage of our style, we play 4 guards. Jaime Jaquez is our biggest guard. We bring in Jalen Clark's a rebounding guard, big guard. So it eliminates your point guard having to come back for the ball, then I have to call a play. So if we can just get it out, bust it out and up, and attack a team while they're on their heels, your chances of scoring, the analytics tell you, just go way up, Jim. I mean, way up.
We're talking to UCLA basketball coach Mick Cronin. It's a great explanation. Since you mentioned Jay Wright, let me skip ahead. Mick, you and Jay used to battle in the Big East. What do you remember about those brawls?
Oh, my gosh. You talking about, I think one time you would have thought that we were paying our players $100 for every dive on the floor. Like there was more dives on the floor in those games for loose balls. It's amazing guys didn't get hurt as much as it was going on. I mean, it's just that's I know what they stand for. I used to say this, in the old Big East 16 teams, nobody played harder than Villanova. And when I was at Cincinnati and I took over in 2006, I knew if I could get my team to play as hard as them, we would have a chance. And we got to that point, and that's why we were able to go on a run of 9 straight tournaments. So they just, you hear coaches and in sports, all sports, right, Jim, as you do this for a living, talk about culture. Jay Wright has culture. He has a coaching staff because from his coach down to his players, his assistants, everybody believes in the way they do things, and they talk about it nonstop, that the way they do things works. And that's why he's had unbelievable success.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I've ever had an interview with a coach that did not mention culture, and I don't think it's something just to say, Mick. I believe in it. I get it. I understand it. And if you have a culture and it works and you have a complete buy-in from everybody top to bottom, you're going to have a lot of success like he has. I couldn't respect or admire that matchup this Friday night any more than I do. Like, Mick, what does that say about both you and Jay that you both want this game? And then how much does a game like that fire up your players all off season and ensure that they remain locked in?
I think you make a great point. Our guy, there's no question our guys know that, they've known this game was coming. I think, first of all, Jay and I, when the Big East broke up, we talked about playing, and he looked at me and goes, why would we do that to each other? We've had enough of each other.
Right.
Enough cage matches. So, but now, with me being at UCLA, our program being where it's at, Jay's won 2 titles since we last played. It's just a win-win. Look, you want to win the game, but you look at games like, okay, our fans want this game, my players want this game, and recruits want to play in these types of games. So it's all plus. When you got a really good team, why wouldn't you play a really good schedule? I mean, it's just there's no point in not doing it. You don't want to make a schedule you can't handle. It's just going to be a great event. Now, I'm sure if we lose, I'm going to wonder what the hell I scheduled Villanova for. But I know at the end of the day, look, we're all about March, right? That's what our sport's about. And this game's going to make you better, win or lose.
We're talking to Mick Cronin, UCLA head basketball coach, no doubt. Mick, Cody Riley, Mick, appeared to suffer an injury last night. I know right after the game you did not know the extent of it. Do you have any clearer sense of what it was, and what was your reaction when you first learned he was hurt?
Oh, well, I was out there holding his hand, man. I didn't worry about the timeout huddle, what was going on. He's come such a long way in his time at UCLA. He's going to graduate. He's helped the program, back to the glory days of the Final Four and the top ranking. And I couldn't have done it without him. So my heart was broken when I was out there, just making sure he could relax. But we're optimistic. Waiting on an MRI result right now to give you the truth. So still waiting. Hopefully it's a sprain, but I would say he's probably out Friday. I mean, which you just back to the UCLA. I mean, we lost 2 starters during the season last year. So, since I have had a run of bad luck with stuff like this in the last couple of years at UCLA, but we got plenty of guys, so it's just going to have to be somebody else that steps up.
I get that, Mick. When you talk about UCLA, there's a certain way and a certain process and a certain thing that you do, or the way you approach it at UCLA. For instance, you told The Athletic, quote, you play to win at UCLA, and you make the right play or you don't play. It's real simple. The hard part is having the conviction to actually do it, and I do, end of quote. So let me ask you, why do you think having the conviction to do it is the hard part? And is that conviction something that comes naturally, or do you have to keep working at it to create it?
It's a great question. So I'd say it does come natural. For me, experience tells. When I was young, I thought I was a tough guy. Now I'm just getting older, and I have experience. And what experience tells you is, if you don't do things the right way in any walk of life, if you're not prepared, you don't work hard, and you don't do the things that you need to do to have success, you're not going to win. So I think mistakes that I see made are coaches that maybe will sacrifice things to appease certain players or people, and next thing you know, they've totally lost their culture, and you're going to lose. I mean, it never works, ever. It never works. So, and sometimes it's tougher than others. In the bright lights of LA, all I was alluding to in that is you have to be even more convicted to your beliefs, because they'll be challenged even more. For instance, do we need recruit X? Recruit X is high ranked, and he, blind, but got to have recruit X. Well, if recruit X doesn't want to play to win, and he doesn't want to buy into the way we do things at UCLA, I don't need recruit X. Recruit X is only going to cause me problems and tear apart our culture, and it lead to my demise. So, it's just, I think, the great coaches out there, not to compare myself to any of them, they know these things.
Yeah, I would absolutely would compare you to them, and you know these things, and I agree with what you're saying. See, now, Mick, the challenge that I have, Mick Cronin, my guest, when I host a nationally syndicated program, the challenge is, if I've got several hundred radio stations across the country, how do I talk about things that appeal to the greatest base of people, the broadest base of people? I understand this coming in. I'm about to ask you a question that not that many people will relate to or understand or even be interested in, and I don't give a damn, because I know you get it, and it's still my show. I've waited long enough. You had a 3-year-old filly, so very smart, win at Santa Anita a couple of weeks back for her second win. I know what this feels like. I know what this represents. I need you to share it with me and the others, and they probably won't get it, but I want to ask you, what was that experience like, the win and then being involved with that particular filly?
Well, she's a great, and this is where you understand, because you've been to the backside of a track and you understand that, how cool horses really are. So, she's super sweet. I got pictures with her, petting her down at Del Mar in August, giving pep talks to her where she ran second that day. And not only did she win, Jim, when it went in the media, she won back 8 days later. She's won 2 in a row. So she's rested up now. But, there's, as you know, man, there's nothing like, there's nothing like the exhilaration of that minute, 10 seconds, when your horse is running and you're excited, and it brings people together. The people that I've met, I'm sure like I've become friends with Bill Strauss, of the Pamplemousse and Del Mar, and it's just Pro Flowers. He's just a great guy. He owns part of Hot Rod Charlie. And, all walks of life come together, at the racetrack, and it's just to me, it's all about the horses. And sometimes the game gets a bad rap at times, but everybody I know around the horses, that especially Doug O'Neill and his team that have most of mine, that they love the animal, and I love going out in the morning. That's my favorite part. I don't know about you.
The morning is great, and I've missed it during the pandemic. Mick, you couldn't get around there, and it was kind of hard to do. The mornings are tough for me since I work in the mornings, but on a Saturday morning, I'll go out there. When we talk about the morning, we're talking about when the horses train and when they work. Of course, I know Bill Strauss. Bill Strauss, Mick, was one of our partners on Misdirection, who won 2 Breeders' Cup races, so I know Bill really, really well. I've partnered with him on a number of horses. Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on. We've got a homebred named Gijetta who won a 2 other than, and she came from 7 lengths back, Mick. And I'm not going to say it's like your kid did something incredible, because nothing's that good, but I'm telling you, I'm in love with this horse. Like, it's one of the loves of my life. And when I see a horse come running from 7 lengths back and win at the wire, it's almost impossible to even describe how good it is if you love the animal. So, but I know you understand, so that's why I bring this up. One last thing, Mick, you and I have talked in the past about fashion. You were back to rocking the suit last night, which I loved. I love seeing that, because not every coach is going to go back to wearing suits. Lay it out for me. How did it feel to be back in a suit, and are you going to keep doing that? What's your approach?
Well, I'm 100% back to suit and tie. First of all, when you coach at UCLA, you're sitting in Coach Wooden's seat. So, he was suit and tie. You better be suit and tie. That's how I look at that. But, personally, like my view of a coach growing up, my dad in the 70s, man, they had those fly leisure suits with the big collars. But, to me, and as I got older and I'm watching, it was Pat Riley and Showtime. It's like, hey, man, I'm going to Hollywood. I'm not wearing a pullover.
Right.
It's time to step my game up. I got to spend some money when I came to UCLA. But in all seriousness, Jim, I'm hoping someday all the coaches will go back to it, and here's why. I think that we're in a leadership position. I think that it sends a message about that whether like we're a school teacher, we're not just a coach. We're not just, it's not just run up and down and get points. We represent more than that. And that's just how I look at it. I think it adds to who we are. It accentuates who we are and our role for our players and our campus community. And I know I'm not popular with this because there's probably only going to be 10 or 20 guys wearing suits out of 350 this year. But I know it's more comfortable and it's easier the other way. I just think we're in too important of a position to not dress up.
All right, so you and I are in the minority. I feel the same way. I love it. I always dress it up, and I'm not judging anybody else. And maybe you and I are the boomers. We're the old guys. You don't get it, but I feel the same way. And I'm not rocking sneaks with my suits when I go on TV just because I'm more comfortable putting on a nice pair of shoes, old school. I'm not saying I'm right. That's just the way I feel about it, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
Mick, one last thought. The program. Yeah, go ahead.
To each their own, right?
Right.
Don't. My thing was, coaches tried to recruit me the other way, and I just said, look, I'm not. It's not going to happen, and I have my reasons. But doesn't mean if you don't want to dress up, man. Hey, trust me.
Hey, Mick. By the way, it's a hell of a lot cheaper to go the other way, man. You and I'd be saving a lot of money if we went the other way. But we're showing up a certain way, and we feel like we can represent ourselves and who we work for and our families and everything else. I have to ask you this really quickly, and I've kept you a long time, but I know the program is doing a documentary series on the basketball team, and it's going to air on YouTube and social media. I know you're focused on the job and the next game, but when people watch the series and they meet the guys on the team, what do you think they'll come away thinking about UCLA basketball and the players you have?
Well, that's why I think it's important. First of all, that's the way of the world. People want behind-the-scenes access.
They do.
That's how you draw more fans in. That's how you build your following. We have great, we're in Hollywood, so we have great people behind the scenes doing this stuff that are super talented, so why not? But what they're going to find out, I think, is the most important thing is you watch a game and these guys are humans. They're real people, so they're not just a guy that didn't make a shot that you're mad at because he didn't cover the spread because you bet 60 to win 50 on the game. So, these are humans. These
well done, Mick.
They're real. They got real stories, as you know, Jim. They're working hard. What they'll see is why we were able to go on the run and get this program where it's at when you watch this, because you're going to see some seriously intelligent kids with great character. They're really sharp, and you'll see why we were able to go to the Final Four if you watch it.
I'm anxious to see it. I ran down the resume at the very top. It's too long to run down once again. He is the head basketball coach at UCLA. They were in the Final Four, and there is a big one coming up on Friday night. Number 4 Villanova at number 2 UCLA. Mick, I appreciate you personally. I appreciate the conversation. Always great to have you on the show. Good luck this weekend. I know you and I will do it again soon, Mick.
Absolutely, Romy. It's great to catch up, buddy. Thanks for having me.
You're the best, Mick. You're the best. Nobody better. Appreciate you, Mick. Always good to have you.